that a sefer like that, should be in the house of all Chassidim, because we got to follow the banner, of the Rebbe, right up to the point.
Reb Mordecai, maybe we can get with Rabbi
where it reaches
to order this.
Okay.
75 shekels per book in the Aaron Troy.
75 shekels?
Per sefer.
Per sefer.
Yeah,
so there's four or five.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
so
also
it's a little bit expensive. But
it's in paper also.
It's a bit of money, but it's tremendously well spent. I've never quite seen Sikhs from the Rebbe treated in this way. I mean, it's so thoroughly and faithfully done. It's just remarkable.
You're talking about the Sefer with the Pinuchim?
That's right.
He's not talking about that Sefer. He's talking about the Dvar Malchus that has five books.
5 and 7.
He's not talking about that. It's 5 books of Dvar Malchus with all the footnotes. It's 300 shekels.
Talking about what I print out here.
No. This is the short form.
You're talking about this?
It's also there.
Yeah, I'm talking about that sefer.
Yeah, right, this sefer.
That's it. Okay.
It's a big burgundy sefer.
You can get it in paper for 100.
And it's really worthwhile.
Is it in paper? Really, is it in paper?
Yes.
It's really worthwhile. It's really worthwhile. Maybe you can pay it off in installments or give him a couple of checks or something. It's really worthwhile having
If I
in
gave
the
you
house.
the money, would you
Okay, here we go. So the Rebbe says at the beginning of the Sikha that we have to understand the word Geula in its own right. And the Rebbe talks in the Sikha B'fnim that there are many words, both in the Nevi'im and in general rabbinic literature, in the Talmud and the Mishnah. There's many words for the Geula, many different ways that it's referred to. But the word that remains like the general word that everybody uses over the generation, and Yidden in conversation when they talk one with the other, and they say that it's going to come, even in Yiddish. If you say it's going to be the Geula, you say the Geula. You don't say some other word, even in English. You don't say to somebody there's going to be the redemption or something. You say it's on the Geula. And the Rebbe brings it, there's this, the Rebbe mentions in a footnote that there's this niggin, that people singing. Apparently, when the Rebbe gave the Sikha, they had sung that niggin before. It's written in a footnote that they sang the niggin before. The Geula is also inside the Geula, and all sorts of words in these simple nigunim, and the word is Geula. So therefore the Rebbe says that with all the wondrous terms that refer to the Geula, the emissary accepted central word around which all hope and yearning for Mashiach is centered is the word Geula. So says the Rebbe, let's take a look at the word Geula. Let's examine what's it all about. Klal yaduhu shetoichnoi shel kol doa mitbatei b'shmoi. It's a well-known accepted rule in Torah, and particularly in Chassidus and in Pnimis HaTorah. And the Alter Rebbe brings it at the beginning of Sha'ar Yichud V'Emunah, that the toichen, the inner content of every inyan in this world expresses itself in its name. In other words, that a name is not just a term or a tag that was made up by some agreement linguistically. A name in Lashon Kodesh is the expression of the inner content of that particular inyan. Haviyoima means let us say then, if we really want, if we really want to appreciate what it's all about, any particular zach, then you have to and we have to look at its name and go into that, and then we'll find out what it's all about. Now, this is an amazing principle that occurs in the Gemara in quite a number of places, that certainly the great Tanoim wanted to know about a certain person that they didn't know about, what was going on with him, and where was he heading, what was it all about with him, and they asked for his name. They said, what's the guy's name? And through his name, it's written at Reb Meir particularly, I have a medactic b'shmoi, b'sholdova, and Reb Meir could hear what a person's name was, and he would say, oh yeah, that's good, we have to deal with him, better to keep away from him. You can maybe do this, but make it indirect. He immediately knew, there's a whole piece in the Gemara, Masechta Yuma, that Reb Meir immediately heard a person's name, he knew all the different details of how to relate to him and what he was really about. Yeah, that was just his personal name. How much more so to all the things in the creation. So the Rebbe said, we have to think about a name, and we have to be misboinen in a name to know what the message of that thing is. In Cain, Kedei lekabel musig al teikne shel hagiula hashlema. In order for us to get some concept of what is the real inner message of the Geula Shlema, ubeika, and especially Kedei lekabel musag, in order to get some sort of concept, Keitzer aleinu lihiskoinen, or there's a letter missing there at the end of the line. Lihiskoinen means how to prepare ourselves. And in order to know how to prepare ourselves, likroso, in order to meet the Geula Shlema, or mahi ochein, and what is sof kol sof, the avodah hanidreshes kedei lahaviyah. So in other words, there's three things. First of all, we have to pay careful attention to find out what are we supposed to do to prepare ourselves, and what is the avodah which is going to bring the Geula, and what is the how is that hinted and made up in the word Geula? He said, "Mitui kol habituim b'Torah hamivatim es amatzu shel hayetzia me'hagolos hazeh ha'acharim." So the Rebbe, from all the different expressions that there are in the Torah, which express the type of situation which will be and will bring to the going out of the last Golos. So this last of all the Golosim, says the Rebbe, Aharei hakinui sheshogui b'fi kol Israel. He said the expression which is practiced and very accepted in the mouths of all Yidden, v'chein hu b'chazal, that's also the most common expression in our sages, is the word Geula. So the Rebbe explained, like I said, there are many different ways in which the Nevi'im refer to the Geula, and also Psukim in the Torah that refer to the Geula, but the word that is most makubal everywhere, particularly in our sages, is the word Geula. V'im kain, if that's the case, davke b'mila zu, precisely in that word, the word Geula, Tamuna toikno ha'pnimi shel ha'geula. We must say that there's hidden the inner message and the inner content of the whole inner of the Geula, Amitis Vashlema. Not just any Geula, but the Geula Amitis Vashlema must be hidden in this word Geula. There must be some in the word Geula which sums up and gives us the inner message, but the whole inner of the Geula Hamit is Vashlema. V'hinei davke b'teva zu, precisely in this word, on umoitzim inin pilai, we find a most surprising and how would you call it, amazing, a thing which sticks out in the lesson of English. To use the old expression in English, it sticks out. Yeah, what is it? So he says, Hamila Geula, which means the Geula Amitis Vashlema, is Murkeves Mishnei Musogim, Haki Koitvim, Michad, Mavis Koitvim, Michad, Marbias Tevazu, Klula Meaoisias Goilo. So he said that this word Geula is made up of two very central, how do you call it, like, what's the thing that goes around the middle of the earth, how do you call that?
Equator.
The equator. Like two very central kotvim, they sort of, the whole thing swivels around them in the word Geula. So he says, Michad, from one side, Marvis HaTeva, Klula Mi'oisias Goyla. The majority of that word, Geula, is made up from the word Goyla. Yeah. And what's Goyla? Goyla is Goyla. Goyla, the word Goyla is Goyla. You follow? The Malakunta is that the whole word Geula is made up of the word Goyla plus one letter. What's that letter? Aleph. And so who's Aleph? Aleph is Shalom. You know, the Gemara tells a story in the Masechta Brachas about Aharei when he was a small boy. And his teacher, Rabbi, he looked at this, what happened with Aharei, and he said, "You're going to have to watch this kid. This is going to be big. This is going to be big material." That's what he said about Aharei. And so there was a whole thing that he said to him a certain word in a pasuk, and Aharei said that that's really referring to kaf kaf, and he connected it with the Geula, with Aleph. He connected Aleph with the Eibusher. He said Aleph is Aleph Shel Olam. And then Rabbi, was his teacher. He said, "You got to watch out for this kid." And he became Aharei. What is this whole in? He said that the basis of the word Geula is Goyla. Yeah. Ela shekasher moisifim es ha'ois aleph noitza hamila Geula. So what is it? Yeah, the whole idea for Geula is the Goyla. That's the main part of the word. With Aleph, Aleph in the middle. So what do we see then is the move from Golas to Geula? Aleph Yisrael. Understand? Aleph Yisrael. That's what Aharei did. It's written in the Gemara. He walked outside and he was only a little kid and he pointed up and he said, Aleph Yisrael. That's what he said. What are we going to do? From that it would appear that even though the Golas is a pretty terrible thing, but what is Geula? That you, as it were, leave the Golas the way it is. I mean, I'm not going to say that we leave it the way it is, but we don't blow the Golas away. We don't sholil the Golas. All we do is we bring an Aleph and drop it into the middle of the Golas. And if you do that, you got the Geula. So how does all that get together? So the Rebbe says, Ela shekasher moisifim es ha'ois aleph noitza hamila Geula. You get into Geula. Uber Medrash, af mefurish. And in the Medrash it's even written clearly, ki hamila goylo shebenevuah Zechariah koilelas b'teicho shnei pirushim. It's written that Zechariah saw a vision of a big menorah. And it was different things that this menorah was very similar to the menorah of the Beis Hamikdash. But it had certain extra things about it which are very remarkable, and they're indicatory of the Geula and everything. This amazing menorah that he saw in his Nebuah, the Zechariah. So it's written that he saw on top of the menorah a thing that he calls goylo. You know how to call it? Some sort of some of the Meforshim explain it was like a big kli at the top, and in the kli was the shemen. They didn't put the shemen into each little light. They put it inside a big thing at the top in this menorah that he saw. Not the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash, but in this menorah that he saw. And what happened was that the shemen ran down through a main pipe, and then it ran down through little pipes into each of the cups of the menorah, and then it was lit by the Kohen Gadol. That's what he saw in his dream. So this thing at the top, that was sitting at the top of the menorah, he calls it goylo, the word goylo. So there's a difference of opinion in the Medrash. What does he want with that word goylo? So it's like that. But my Medrash on my footage, ki amila goylo shebevanu Zachariah. But that's what he saw. Zachariah in his Nevuah, koilelas b'teicha shnei pirushim. And therefore there are two possibilities, what it means. And so each Amoira says another possibility. So in a case like that, it's interesting. It could be they don't really disagree. They're just suggesting like different stages or elevations or possibilities in this entity called the Goyla. So he said, Chad Omar, Goyla Miloshin Gola. That this Goyla is indicatory of the Yidden and the Eivishter with the Yidden Bisman HaGolas. V'chad Omar Geula. And the other one says that the Goyla, why he saw this manure at the top of this big container of the Shema, that was indicatory of the Geula. So here we see the two different opinions, and the two quite extremities. One says indicatory of the Zman HaGolas, another says indicatory of the Zman HaGeula, and they're both called Goyla, but what's the difference between the two opinions is an aleph. One puts an aleph in, and then he gets Geula, and one leaves the aleph out, and so he remains with Goyla. And Mamela, we see from that, Cain, that the change from Goyla to Geula is tucky in that aleph. That aleph is what builds and alters the state of the Golas and brings it to Geula. Therefore he says, Shnei Pirushim, Chad Omar Meloshin Golas, V'chad Omar Geula, V'ochei. B'chsidus Mavur, and truthfully, it's brought down in Chsidus and explained that the Yois Aleph and the Sephers meramezes ala ulufay shel olam. That Aleph was in the word Geula, well, that's the additional letter in the word Geula, is merames on the Eivishter. Because the Eivishter is called literally what you might call the general or the ruler of the world. And that's the word aluf. And aluf means a leader and a balabais. So the balabais of the whole world, alufay shel olam, shehi ha'ifeches es ha'goyla l'geula. And what changes the goyla to the geula? That when you have a world but you're not aware and you don't see in the world the Eivishter, then you got a goyla. What's going to be the geula? You're going to have the same world. You can have the same world, but in that you're going to be aware of Elokus, and you're going to see how everything is only here. So therefore he says that's the difference between the two Pirushim. Goyla means that he's looking at the yin and how it is mitzad the golas, that it's stuck here, everything is, but it's hidden. You don't see it. Therefore you take the world to be a matzid. The other opinion says no, that in the Goyla is going to be Mizgala, the Aleph, and the Aleph is the Lufish Olam, which means we'll see how everything is bottled telekurs. And that's going to be the Geula. If Amir Kunta is that the coming of the Geula is the appearance and the moving into the scenario of the Aleph. Lufish Olam. That's the whole thing. It makes very good sense why the word Geula is like that. Because Goyla is the main general Matthias, a Geula is that you brought the Aleph in. And he got Geula.
That's opening up your eyes?
And that's also, very rightfully. Mordechai says, Kumtais, that really there's no chain. Ultimately, it's just what you see. And if you open your eyes and you see the right thing, then you're going to see the Aleph and not the Goyla. And what's now is we see the Goyla and not the Aleph. That's the whole different. It's mind-blowing. So there was the Rabbi, Achadova Oima Dorsheni. However, I'm sorry, where are we? Achsidus Mavusha Ois Aleph. And they said, "Meramez ala v'ruvish olam she'io ifechet es hagoyla l'geula." More, that's what changes everything. Ach, says the Rebbe, Adova imador sheni. this demands an explanation. And the thing itself demands an explanation. Haloi, he said, behold, ein lecho shnei musogim koitviyim v'soisrim kemoi goyla ugeula. I said that the two biggest opposites that you could imagine are Golus and Geula. I mean, it couldn't be anything more opposite of Geula than Golus. And there couldn't be, in a good way, anything more opposite to the Golus than the Geula. Remember, they're two, they're completely contradictory in Yonim, one to the other. If a chayta to the Rabbi, yitachein, and how does that make any sense? I'm supposed to be talking into the thing now. I'm beginning to feel. Is this working?
Yeah.
You gotta talk close now.
I'm beginning to feel I'm getting away from the Shabbat. Yeah, so he says, Arufi Shaloilom, however, the Dvar Zeh Ima Der Shaini, because these are two separate and opposite inyanim, and how does it make any sense? V'keitet yitochen sho'isa hamilo, that word sheka'omam mevateis es hamahus, like we said, the name of a thing gives over the whole inner content of that inyan, the whole makeup of that inyan. Yeah, kiboneh me'oisa ma'oisias shel musogim hafuchiyem. So the Rabbi said, how can one word be built and have its mahus from something which is its opposite? So the geula is made up of the word goyla, and the goyla is the opposite of the geula. So how can you have a mahus being expressed through the name when the name really mostly is referring to the hepech of the thing that it's really representing? So Kunta says the word geula is the hepech of the word golos, and yet they're the same word. And the only thing that changes them is the ois aleph. That's a very fascinating Indian. Because how's the old saying have it? The Alter Rebbe said that no matter how much we will imagine to ourselves, and we'll try to picture to ourselves what it's going to be like in the time of the Geula, we have no idea. We have no music whatsoever. So the Geula is just something completely and utterly beyond us. Altogether, it's just, ain't a row. And yet, nonetheless, the Rabbi says the whole difference between where you are now, which is a terrible situation called the Golos, and that state is one aleph. That's the whole difference. So, albeit that aleph indicates alufoi shaloilam, but ask yourself the question: how do we get that alufoi shaloilam into the Golos? How do we get him in such a way that he will be revealed inside the Golos, and Mamela blow the whole Golos and switch it immediately to a state of Geula. So that's what we've got to understand. So, says the Rebbe, Geula mishachareres as a Matthias mi'agoyla. So the Rebbe said we're going to see that the inner Geula is not to cancel out all the good things and all the worthy things that have been done up till now. Some people think that the whole idea of the Geula is some huge, blow up, that it's going to be a completely different world, and everything that was there before is just of no, significance. So the Rebbe is going to point out that even though the emes is that the Geula is an incomparable change, and it's an ein arok sheba ein arok sheba ein arok change, nonetheless it's not going to alter all the good things that were done in the Golos. It's only going to bring a whole new dimension of awareness into that world. The good things that we've done in the world are not going to be cancelled out, chas v'sholom. So therefore he says, Ela, shedavke bekach tmuna hatshuva. He said, davke in the question that we're asking, he said, davke hidden in that is really the answer. Geula ein pirusha haznocha shel hachayim. He said, bringing the Geula doesn't mean that we're going to abandon all the life that we've had up to now. Aznacha shel hachaim hakavana, to abandon our lives and start off all over again. No, he said that's not going to be the case. Yeshel ha'pi'ili yois v'shel, I don't know what that is, something, ha'ilom, kafi shehem hoyu b'tikuv ha'golos. He said it doesn't mean that we're going to just wipe out and forget all the good things that there were during the time of the Golos. Because there are good things. Even though it's Golos, it's possible for the good things. So he said, Lahivat, Geula kishmo keinuhi. He pu'ulas, poyelas. Geula is being poyo, shamatzia shahoyasa, koidam lachen, mishuberes begolas, mishtachar. That was up till now was hidden and imprisoned in the Golas, it's going to be released. Which means that the Golas and the world are all going to remain there. It's just what's hidden and doesn't appear and is not there begoli, that's all going to come out and be revealed. That's why the word goyla and geula are one close to the other. Because you're going to have the world, but what is imprisoned now because of the Helem V'Esther, the Golas, that's all going to become revealed, and it's going to become revealed in a way that it'll be all linked up with the Alufa Shalom, all linked up with the Eibishter. What we're going to have is how do you call it, an emancipated world. That's how I would express it. You can have a freed world.
Oh man. Now,
the truth of the matter is that many are the different isms that have claimed over the years that that's what they're going to do. They're going to give you an emancipated world, a free world and the rest of it. And what's happened to all of them? They've all, Milan of Godel communism, the whole business. They said, they're going to free the whole world. And the proletariat is going to be the free, and they're going to be the rulers, and they're going to be, the whole world is going to be free and emancipated and meshukra. And about 20 years down the line, it was the biggest prison that's ever been in human history, Rahman and Islam. In other words, we see there's also a lot of, hevel v'ros ruah. It's also a lot of evil talk. What is the emancipation? When you reveal Alu V'Shalom, you bring down the emes inyan of the Eibishter Be'emes into the Geula and to the Golas, and you reveal him there. That is the emes. And with that, you're going to free, as it were, the whole world, and then the world's going to be genuinely free. So he said, "Ukako she'hageula amitiyas yosa v'shlema yosa." He said, until and as much as the Geula is going to be true and complete, more, ad the Geula amitis v'shlema, all the way up to the very immediate inyan of the Geula and the perfection of the Geula, are yosa v'yosa, dvarim mishtachrim, ad she'hakoil mishtachrim. The more and more things are going to become, as it were, freed. They're going to become less covered by this whole hell of Esther that there is in Malchus, and everything's going to reveal itself more and more. So look, I'd just like to make a brief parenthetical remark about that we see that that's mamish what is happening. And it's pretty close. I think I told you guys, was it last week? I've forgotten when it is, when I spoke to you last week. Anyway, last week, what's his name? Amichai brought into my house. I think I told you the story.
Told us, yeah.
A guy from Stockholm. A guy. This fellow, he was just mind-boggling, And he's got a business. He's getting the business into the hands of a manager. So I said, what do you need to do? He said, I will be free to study Torah. He'll be free to study Torah. And he'll spend his whole time studying Torah. And the reason he came he got a few bucks. The reason he came to Israel to meet a few people that he has seen on the internet about Torah and mitzvahs, how to study Torah. And this is happening all over the world. It's happening all over the world. Aharei says, the Rebbe, we see that gradually the world is freeing itself from its own imprisonment. If you go now on a plane and you watch the number of people who are just wasting their time, or you watch people who are trying to use their time in a more positive and useful way, and some of them even using it for good things. When I went to the Rebbe before I came to Tzos, I've already been here how many years? Two and something, yeah. 2.5 years, 2.25 years. I've been here in Tzos. I went to the Rebbe before I came. When I came back on the plane, I got on the plane, there's this guy sitting, I'm here in the aisle seat, and he's just over there. He's looking on a film or something on a computer. As soon as I came onto the plane, he sort of started peering at me and he wasn't watching the computer. When I sat down, I thought, very dignifiedly tried to take up my coat. I could feel him watching me, So all of a sudden, excuse me, he said, are you a rabbi or something? That's what he says. I said, yeah, I'm something. So we start talking. I tell you, the guy drove me crackers. Ms. Barra, that he's a Yehudi. And he had a computer with films on it, beautiful films. And he was watching a film, and he put it all away. He wanted to talk to me. And he was going to town about how do we know this, and how do we know that, and what's going to be, and all about the Eibishter and what's happening to the world. And I would say that even 10 years ago, 15 years ago for sure, you would never run up against things like that. He would be looking at a film, and he would look at his film, and he wouldn't care a hang about you. Nowadays, the Rebbe's been working, and the Rebbe's spread this unbelievable oasis of Kedusha all throughout the world. You know what's happening? People are waking up, they want to know what's coming off, Where's everything heading, what's it all about, And that's a new Indian. So that's what the Rebbe says, that gradually it's coming in, that the world is gradually freeing itself. It's getting free from the old, sort of incarceration, I would call it, that the world had. And people are looking for something, and they're finding it. They got ways. If they get up onto the right internet spots, they can find out anything out there, and they can find out the truth. But he pointed out very rightly in the conversation I had with him, he pointed out very rightly that there's so much in the so-called claim to truth internet spots that you've got to be very careful about, because in the end you realize that they're just selling you a whole new baloney, They're not really getting into the He said few are the places that really deal with the truth, but he's come to meet people who they're dealing with the internet in a way that is true. That's what he said. So, I sat and I was talking with him for about 20, 25 minutes, and my eyes were just boggling out. The guy is very systematically speaking of it. He's wants this, he wants that. And so he shows me what he learns. He's got this whole the Torah, translated into whatever language. He speaks English well, but he speaks Swedish or whatever it is over there. And he's got it all done. He's got all the different things arranged, and how he learns. And he's got some sort of purist there that he's got. And Amichai told me that as far as they can see, it's a kosher, a purist. It's not just some cracker's business. And he's also reading all sorts of other topics. They're staying with the Chumash. So that's what the Rebbe means. That's what the Rebbe says here, that what's happening is that people are moving in such a way that the Matthias that was before an enslaved Matthias, let's say, what does that mean? let's say this guy was watching a film on the internet or whatever on his computer. Majority of these films are bad news. Yeah? They not only don't give out any message, but they're megashim, and they cause a yerida in the person himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did he do? Not because I'm anything special, but what did he do? As soon as he saw me, he closed the computer. In other words, he's no longer so much in that. He's more interested and more enthusiastic about a message that he can get.
Mm-hmm.
That's the pillar. It's like a sort of a desire on the part of thinking people.
They're driven.
They want to get, and that's what the Rabbi uses the word, freed. They want to get freed. The Matthias is enslaved, and the Gula means that it frees itself, and it takes on its real state. And that's even from Shichro. In other words, we get freed from an enslavement. It's amazing. So I said, Kekosha Giula Mitias, Yesa, Veshlemas Yesa. He said, as long as the Geula will be progressing into a state of genuine and perfection more and more, Adle Geula Amitis Vashlema, until the really final realization of Mashiach, Aharei Yoisa v'Yoisa Dvarim Mishtacharim. More and more things are going to become freed. Things are going to become, as you might say, what's the word in English? And franchise, what's the word? Liberated. Liberation. They're going to be freed. And that's what you see, a lot of these people nowadays who've got computers in it, they can make panosa by, making some sort of business done through the computer. That's what this guy's done. He made himself quite a well-paying business. He explained through the computer, and they've got spare time. So what are they doing with their spare time? They're looking to find what's really going on. It follows Laphi said that the world is gradually freeing itself. It's like a going out of enslavement. They said, Mishtachrim, Ad Shakoil Mishtachrim, until everything will free itself from its enslavement. Klum Loi Noisa Avud. There's not going to be anything lost anymore. In other words, Bagolas. The Rebbe said, what is the meaning of Golas? Golas is that things are lost. In other words, let's say a Yid is in Golas. A Yid is a Nefshelakis, he's a Chelek Helekam Emar, he's a genuine Matthias. So when Hashem will come, that's going to, when Moshe will come, that's going to express itself in the fullest form. Right now, it's had a court in prison. And therefore the whole Indian, the Geula is like a moving out from a state of imprisonment into genuine and franchise, liberation. And so that's exactly the whole concept of freedom, what people used to call in the old days, this freedom, independence, all these mises that people were looking for is all hidden there in the Geula, and it's hidden in the very essence of the whole makeup of society and of human life. And it's all going to move to its eminence of freedom, and it's going to get out of being Ovud. Ovud means that it could a lost entity, a lost article. Apiru hamidochim va'oivdim. Ego Elo. That's one on the famous pasuk in Yeshaya Novi where he says, "Uvo ha'ivdim be'eretz Ashur, v'anidochim be'eretz Mitzrayim, v'yishtachavu l'Hashem, b'har ha'kodesh b'Yerushalayim." It's one on the pasuk. He said, what's happened prior to Mashiach's coming? Things they're being like cast away. Nidoch, like lost or enslaved, or what's the expression, pushed away in a lost area. Oivdim means people that are completely sunken and lost in the Matthias. Yeah, how do you call it? Anidach is something that he's okay, he's just pushed off his right place. Uived, with Aleph, is somebody that he sort of lost his way altogether. Nonetheless, even people like that are going to be redeemed. Yeah? He said, B'kain b'kamas, v'hain b'eichas, not only in number, but also in pneumias and in quality, these people are going to be redeemed. It doesn't matter, and there's no reason to look at the world and say, but look at all these people that are all lost all over the place, and all these people that are drifting and everything. If you make a decision that you're not drifting, and you pull in the right direction, you're pulling all them with you. Amir says that that's what is happening, and that's what's leading to the state where it's all going to free itself from this captivity. So he said, Kol ha'asegim va'pu'ules shekol b'nei ha'odam yishtachraru. Everything that man does is going to be free. I don't know, everybody around here is very balabatis. When I read that sentence, I take off. And the whole reason I'm sitting here is because I got to give the class here but I should be really going up through the roof. Do you realize what he's saying here? He said we're all going to be genuinely freed of all the things that hold us back. And that's the Indian of the Geula. The Indian of the Geula is not you're going to become another entity altogether, or you're going to face it, and the whole world's going to blow up, or me or that one. Everything is going to remain the way it is. It's just going to be, everything is going to be finding its own genuine mahus, what it's all about, and be freed from this, how they call it, shtiklach ha'maisla. You know what shtiklach ha'maisla is? Everybody got his shtiklach ha'maisla. Yeah, so he said him come to church, I can't, I'm unfortunate, I got this, I got that, that's what's called in Yiddish shtiklach ha'maisla. Well, that's not going to be anymore. So well, people will be free to just be involved in Elokus. Says the Rebbe, that's the whole idea of the shichro, of the inyan of the shaking off, of the levushim, of the golem. He said, only at that time, Yizbatl ha'helam v'hester ha'machaseh al metzius ha'amitis v'apinimis shal ha'matzias kula. He said, the Rebbe said, what is the Geula? That the kisui, the covering that is there right now, which doesn't allow us to see how everything is just him. That covering is going to fall away. And you're going to just see a whole new state of existence altogether. You're going to see how everything is only Elokus, and everything is he, the real Matthias is him. He said, therefore, I'm a Shabed Oiso, Ladarche Ateva, Vagashmis Oilam. And he said, what is that which enslaves the whole Matthias? He said, that's the Helem, which is Meshabed, that causes us all to fall into what he called an enslavement. Ladarche Ateva. And so we're locked up in Teva, and we think we have to give in to the Teva, we have to live only according to natural rules, etc., etc. And he said that leads you back into Gashmias. Oh, Elon. But the whole inner of the Geula is always mishtachrer. You get out of all the levushi, hateva, and all those inonim, which means that the whole world and the goyla are going to stay the way they are. It's just we're going to see the whole thing complete different. It's going to reveal itself for what it really is. And so the Rebbe, that's the Indian, that betoicha goylo, you're just going to bring in the aluf and you're going to turn it into Geula. So how are we doing for time?
Well,
Plenty of time, still plenty of time.
not so much, well, what time is it? Is that clock?
I can't see that.
What time is it? So it's
Oh, no,
9:05.
What's the time now?
9:05.
9:05. Well, we started late, so we'll learn another couple of minutes. So he said, Be'etzem, Zehu Teichen Psach Dina Shel Rambam. He said, what we're saying now is the inner message of the famous ruling of the Rambam in Hilchos Malachim. At the end of his whole great work, should be a Moisha Mashiach. The Rambam writes, in the time of Mashiach, Oilam Kemin Hogino, famous Rambam. But the Rabbi said that somewhere at the beginning, and later on it'll be different. But the Rambam says that when Mashiach will first come, the world will continue to conduct itself the way it does now. There won't be,
how many years?
A completely different world. It'll be the same world.
How many years like that?
Huh?
How many years?
That's a good question. It must have been the Zohar 45.
45.
Man, they stayed in one place in the Zohar. But anyway, let's just read a little bit further. The Rambam just doesn't mean it's going to be the old rat race, just like it is now. They had to kill the rat. You get over and you check that. The same old crazy world. And you say, Shalom Aleichem Mashiach, what's your big deal? That's that chas v'sholom. Ela, he says, the world is going to be oilam kamin hogi noihe. The world will function the way it does. Omru chachomim, ein bein oilam hazeh liyamoiz Mashiach, ela shi'abud Malchus bilvad. That the whole difference between this world and the world of Mashiach is going to be there won't be any enslavement to the goyim. We'll be all, as it were, freed and enfranchised to do what we want. We won't have to worry about Obama or somebody who wanted to worry about.
It's
That's a good question. It's mashma that also the Aharei. But nonetheless, it'll be, we'll soon see in a minute. That's like the world the way it is. He said, Ela shibud Malchus bilvad, Ela. That doesn't mean that there won't be any changes. Ela sheyachzeru kulam l'dor sohem, everybody will go back to the genuine religion. Everybody will go back. V'amashiach yetake nesoinum kuloi lavid as Hashem b'yachad. In other words, the whole human race will unite, and they will be united in serving of Hashem. Yidden will be on a higher madrega because they've been keeping Torah mitzvahs all the years, so they'll have a higher madrega, or everybody will be united. So I mean, it's a very different world, and that's the answer to your question. If everybody will unite together in one central aim to serve Hashem, then the Aharei, the way it is now, will be gone. That'll also go. But what's the point of the Rambam is that there's no real, huge, immense change. It's the same world, it's the same. It's just that in the world, Gufa, an ideal, what you might call state, in ideality, in the world the way it is. That's the way the Rambam has it. So later the Rebbe says that that's Yedua, and he already said it a number of times, that's only benegeh to the beginning. But as we go further into the time of Mashiach, then there'll be more profound and drastic changes, which will lead eventually to, the change of the minhag ha'olam l'gamar. But some of the great prophecies that the prophet said, there'll be also like all the animals will dwell together, and the all these amazing things.
The Beis HaMikdash.
The truth is, it's mashma that the Beis HaMikdash will be built before that. The Ikka is in that inyan Tchias Amazing, that there'll be certain prophecies kept which will lead to Tchias Amazing. They'll be like part of a whole new, as it were, era, and that era will complete itself with the standing up of the dead. So that's going to be a very drastic change in everything. That's going to be a very unusual change. But the Rambam says that that's a much greater, further stage that doesn't necessarily prevent the Geula. That prior to that, there'll be peace in the whole world, and everybody will recognize Hashem, and everybody will join together to serve Hashem and the whole. Arichas, but that will be because there's going to be a inyan of Gilui Elokus in such a way that everybody will realize that the Ikka is the Aluva Shalom and not the Goyim. But the world will basically remain the way it is, but we will be full of the awareness of Aluva Shalom. And that's a Geula. And it comes out that the whole inyan, Merkozi, Ikri, in the Geula is just the knowledge of Aluva Shalom and His presence in everything in our lives. Instead of having to walk around looking for Hashem inside all the tyrannies of this world, we'll just be united with Hashem in everything that we do. But it'll be a different world. The Indian of Tchias HaMeisim, that's a further stage. Yeah.
But this process has already started. This process is already started.
Cortex?
Process.
Oh, process.
It's already started.
Oh, that's what it's mashma in the Loshem, in the Sikha, and also in what we see. What I pointed out before, you can see it happening all over. That there's already a beginning and a move in this direction in the world. So the Rebbe said that the Geula is not like the Tzionim say that it's all going to be just little bits here and there, and the Rebbe doesn't agree with that. The Geula is like a complete thing, but it begins with certain signs and indication that it's here, and it's on a moving state where it's just moving from one state to completion. Of a beginning, it's already begun in a real way, not in some doctrinal Zionism or something, but it's begun in a real way. And it's reminded me when, I must admit the other day, I was a bit down. When they brought this Goy in to meet me, I was a bit down. Why? Because it's gone through the whole Pesach, and it'd been Sudas Moshiach. You build up in your mind, and you're ready, and the next day it's an ordinary day, I was very sort of upset in myself. What's going on? Such a huge Sudas Moshiach throughout the whole world. Moshiach couldn't come and honor the Suda, but where are we holding? What's going on? I was in a bit of a sort of a droop. All of a sudden they bring this guy in to see me, and I also got a new view of the whole situation. It really is happening out there. Things are really moving. It's not just sort of stuck and Mashiach didn't show up. He is showing up. He's moving. And for some reason, known only to Moshiach, maybe Moshiach himself doesn't know, unknown to Hashem, it's got to move another few paces, but it's moving. And the paces are paces in the right direction. And it's really, the human race is changing, and it's moving in that direction. And that was to me a tremendous comfort. When this guy came in and they took him away, I said to my wife, listen, we could even sit down and say, L'chaim, this is, I'm feeling a lot better, got to keep working, let's get cracking. For words, because things are really moving out there. Things are really moving. And it's really amazing. And the main thing is that Melech HaMashiach has got to come, he's got to come to the world and to the whole. So if we're crossing around, other people are not. It's amazing. If we're dragging along, other people are not. It's just so mind-boggling when you hear. And this guy, he told me that there's people all over the world, coming in on all these websites and all these mice, and they're all looking, they're all searching, they're all trying to find, what's it all about? Thousands of them all over. So it's happening. Things are really happening. And that's the picture that the Rabbi paints here, the Bavadai, the uniform Moshe is going to be a complete thing. But that doesn't cancel out the fact that there's like a build-up, a lead to it, which will be very visible. And that will sort of be like the forerunner, and then it's going to be the etzem chalois of the Gula in the final touch, which will set off the whole Inyan. And that's what the Rambam himself writes. With Shiur, that you can never tell. You should always look at the world as it was hanging in the balance. And you, for one good thing, you can swing the whole balance. Yeah. Even with one good thought. In other words, think positively. Don't think, because you can never tell. Maybe that machshava is what the whole world's waiting for. That's a Rambam, a statement of the Rambam. So that's it, guys. So there we are. So it's pretty amazing stuff. This stuff. This is real. It's real hot stuff. And as I say, we have only managed to cover about less than a third of the whole Inyan. Mm-hmm. And therefore, I humbly suggest that if somebody can put together a few verses and maybe give a few checks, post-dated or something, to the booksellers.
What are the years?
It's very worthwhile to have the same.
What are the years? What time frame? What is the time frame? What are the years that the Rebbe is speaking?
What's going to actually bring
No. When is this happening? When is he speaking? What year is the Rebbe speaking?
It is in Toshin Nonala.
In English?
It's in Toshin Nonala.
91.
Toshin Nonala. But the ones in the first chelik are Toshin Non Bey.
Yeah.
92.
When the
Rebbe didn't give, after Kof Zayin Order, he didn't give any sichas anymore. So these are a bit earlier, slightly earlier ones than the ones in Brace. Mm-hmm. The ones in Brace are Toshin Nun Bey.
This is
amazing stuff.
It's Tkufa Shnia.
Yeah,
It's the second.
It was the Tkufa Shnia, what the Rebbe says that when all the